Hello everyone and welcome back to Meeple Leaf Reviews. I'm Jeffrey.
I am Jacob.
And today we're doing another before and after where we take a look at our game before and after our very first play, giving you our expectations and first impressions.
Exactly.
And today it's a game that you picked up, Mystic Vale.
Yeah, this was one of my top 5 anticipated games of 2016. Right. So here's hoping it turns out well.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of gives a little bit away of your expectations. If you were anticipating it so much, it made it onto your top 5 list.
Exactly. So yeah, when I first heard about this game and the card crafting system, you're building the cards that you're putting into the deck, I was just like, man, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So I was pumped about that. Now that I've gone through the rules, I haven't really looked at the cards, but I've gone through the rules. It's extremely simplistic.
Right.
And one thing that I heard, I was listening to a podcast and they were mentioning how this is just kind of like a precursor. It was actually a larger game. And when they brought it to the producers, they're like, this game's way too big. We should just take this small segment out of your game and sell that as a game itself. And that's where Mystic Vale came from. So it's actually just a component of a larger game.
Right.
Then in the back of the Mystic Vale rulebook, it's talking about another game that is coming out. And that's going to be a part of the Mystic Vale or the card crafting brand. I don't know if it's going to be expansion or if Mystic Vale is going to merge into this other greater game.
Right.
But I have high hopes for this whole system.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you that I think that this game may be a little too simple.
Right.
Like the system, and you open up the box and you see the different cards and it looks so cool and you're like, whoa, what is this? What do you do with all this? Like, I want to do some cool stuff with it. But then the gameplay where it's kind of just a push your luck deck building thing,
right?
I think that may be too simple. Hopefully if they do more with this system, I think it'll be really cool. But for right now, I'm kind of going in thinking it's going to be okay and that the mechanisms and the components are going to be cooler than the gameplay is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm kind of expecting the same thing. One of the worries that I had was that there's not going to be enough in the game and that the game's going to be over before you have a chance to craft everything that you wanted to do. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to build up this one awesome super-powered card. I'm going to buy all this high-powered stuff and throw it in there. And before you even get it to the table, the game ends.
Yeah, that would suck.
That's kind of what I've heard from other people. So I'm nervous about that. I guess you're just going to have to build a bunch of mediocre cards. Or just like try and get one power card really early.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going in hoping to like it, but I think after 1 or 2 plays, maybe the novelty will wear off, and then how much is it going to come back to the table? But that's just where I'm going in with. So are you ready to get it to the table?
I am ready to get it to the table.
All right, see you guys in a few seconds.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. We just finished our first play of Mystic Vale.
Indeed.
So, a little background. We played 2 players.
Yep.
And the first game took us 30 minutes.
Indeed.
So what did you think?
It was pretty good.
Yeah?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked the fast play. After you finish your turn and the next person starts their turn, you're actually prepping for your next turn. So you're getting everything ready to go. So once it gets to you, you're just like, bam, 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 bam.
Right.
So it was really quick, 30 minutes, as we said, 3-minute teaching, and very simple to teach.
Yeah, it's not too hard. There's a lot of symbols, but they don't really mean anything other than buying those
lots of stuff. It just doesn't mean anything.
Like those Mystic Vale symbols, they don't mean anything other than buying those Vale cards. So it's not like you need to, a paw does this, or a star burst does this, or a swirly line does this.
Yeah, it's just all different variations of currency.
Yeah, and then the only things you really have to worry about are those red.
Yeah, the spoil symbols.
Yeah, sure. So it's not a whole lot to teach there.
Right. There's not a lot of text either, or special abilities activating too often. So, yeah, very simple.
I think it was right in line with my expectations for the game.
Okay.
I think it was cool putting those cards in the sleeves and building these cards. But the game itself, I don't know how often I'd ask to play it.
Right.
Now, if someone else was like, hey, I want to play Mystic Vale, I definitely think I would play.
Sure.
But I don't know how often I would ask for it to come to table.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of strategy there. I'm interested to see what this other game that was mentioned in the rule book is all about, and if it's steps up Mystic Vale or if it's a whole standalone game.
Yeah.
There's not a ton there, but as you said, it's a really cool crafting system.
Yeah.
I was able to make some powerful cards. I was able to search through my deck for it with some of the comboing of cards that I got together. I definitely didn't feel like, I got this really powerful card and I never got to use it.
Well, I kind of felt like I didn't know my cards.
Okay.
So like I made a whole bunch of medium cards.
Sure.
I tried to make a couple good ones, but the things that comboed with those ones I tried to make just never came up.
Sure.
Or came up and didn't come up in the right slot. Okay. So I didn't really get to make a powerful card, and I didn't really I wasn't like, oh yeah, there's this card in my deck. So I kind of just felt like it was just even keel the whole way for me. Also, I felt it was very solitaire-ish.
Oh yeah.
I felt no clue what you were doing.
Yeah, because of that whole system that they have in place where you're doing your prep and you're setting up, you're looking at your cards going, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do next turn, this is what I'm going to have, and then you look up to see what the other person's doing, they're like, okay, it's your turn.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, sweet, okay, I'll do this. And then they're doing the same thing, so you never really know.
No.
Now, they say in the rule book, if you want, you can watch your opponent do their prep phase.
Right.
And then you can start yours after, but it's just going to add time.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any need to.
There's no real countering what your opponent is doing in the game.
There's no attacking. There's so many cards available, and you don't know what they're going to have, like what slots they're going to have available or how much money they're going to be able to spend. So trying to deny them a card, I mean, they're all good options.
Yeah, I think you would need a lot of play in order to start denying people. I would say the only time where I was just realizing that denying was kind of a factor in the game was you have Fertile Ground cards, which is a giant stack that you have access to, and you can pick whichever Fertile Ground one you want out of the stack. And there's a bunch that have high level, mid level, and low level. And I realized really late that there aren't any mid level ones left. There's only one left. So I was like, oh man, I need that for this card. So I grabbed it right away.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, I could see people watching where someone's putting their cards. Maybe they're buying a lot of high level ones.
Maybe.
And so they're buying low level ones because you can't cover up anything. So if you have something in the mid-range, you can't buy a mid-range one and put it in that card. You have to put it somewhere else.
Yeah, but I feel like there's so many good options. Like, all the cards are good. Yeah. It isn't like in a game where someone clearly has a bad choice to make. It's like, okay, you're going to buy the great card for you over... And all the cards are great. So it's not like, this card is crap for me, but it's great for you.
Right, exactly.
So, not very much interaction. I'm not bothered by that at all.
No.
I don't think that it needs to be an interactive game. It's a very short game, like half hour. I definitely see playing this, if you play it again, you could get this game down to like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just...
A 4-player game, I could see 45 minutes easy.
Yeah, but, yeah. The end of the game, though, I didn't want the game to be over.
Right.
And it was over.
Yeah.
I wanted to play with the deck that I had built, and I felt like I was just starting to get there, and then, take all the cards out and pack it up.
Yeah, I still had a bunch of cards that were blank, that had nothing on them still in my deck. So, but I was focusing more on making like some power cards.
Right.
And then whenever that blank card came up, I was just like, it's a freebie. You just throw down. Those blank ones aren't clogging up your deck or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it isn't about building really an efficient deck. It's about building good cards.
I don't know about that.
Because, it's not like you can take cards out of your deck. You really, I think the thing that I noticed the most is that you don't want a card with 2 spoil symbols on it.
Yeah, and it says that right in the rule book. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that at all.
But, I mean, you could.
That's a bad idea.
It wouldn't be a smart play.
Yeah. And then the push your luck, I felt like it was a card building, card crafting game with push your luck kind of veneered over it.
Sure.
I don't think push your luck is like a major component of this game.
No, I mean, I noticed you never pushed your luck the entire game.
I never pushed my luck the entire game.
I pushed my luck about 4 times, and I spoiled 2 of the 4.
Right.
So, and yeah, I mean, I did reap some good benefits when I did push my luck. I did manage to get some good cards, which gave me extra energy to spend, or whatever it's called, to buy new cards. So it is there.
But I think you have to be. I don't think you want to do it all the time.
No, you definitely don't want to do it all the time.
Like if you're like every time, I'm pushing my luck every time. You're
going to spoil.
Yeah, you're going to spoil.
Especially early game, you have a lot of spoil cards in your deck. I think there's 9 of them.
Yeah.
And if you ever have 4 spoil symbols that show up, then you're done and you lose your turn.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be pushing your luck too often, otherwise you're just going to continually lose turns.
The cards that have the spoil symbol are the ones that give you the benefit. There's only 3 cards in your deck that give you a benefit without having the spoil.
Right.
So it's not like you're really going to gain anything from pushing your luck early game, because if you're going to get a benefit, you're going to spoil. So
you need to like build up to the point where you're mid game, you can start pushing your luck. And then end game, if you see the game ending fairly soon, at that point you might want to go, okay, well, if I push a little bit further, I might be able to buy this card or get this, which is going to give me points, and that might give you the win.
Right, so that's our first impressions of Mystic Vale. I think
decent.
Yeah, I think it's decent. I mean, it's not something that I would shy away from, but it's not something that I'm probably going to ask to come to the table very often. But I could potentially ask for it to come occasionally.
Yeah. I wouldn't, if I didn't own this and you had it or someone else had it and I played it, I don't know that I'd be rushing out to buy it, especially since I know that there's another game coming out by AEG with a similar system. I want to see what they do with that, and I might go towards that instead of Mystic Vale.
Yeah, the system, I think, is the cool thing for me. Yeah. The game itself, I could take it or leave it.
It's just okay.
All right, well, that's Mystic Vale. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Go down to the description down below, go to our board game links, and give us some hearts so people will love us.
All right.
Also follow us on Twitter @MeepleLeaf, and you can find out news there about our video releases.
All right, see you guys next time.
Take care.